Imagine waking up in 1860 seconds Victorian England. The world around you is an unfamiliar, strange, and unsettling place. You open your eyes to a room that's dark and cold, the walls lined with peeling wallpaper and the bed beneath you stiff and uncomfortable. The chill of the room cuts through you, and the thin curtains barely let in the gray light of the morning. It's a place of sharp contrasts. On the one hand, there is the beauty, the elegance, and the refinement of society's highest expectations for women. On the other, there's an ever-present, almost suffocating sense of danger and decay that seeps into every corner of your life. Now, you are not just a visitor in this world, you are a woman, a Victorian woman in 1860. You're waking up not in your modern familiar time, but in a society where your gender defines almost every aspect of your existence. Every breath you take, every decision you make, is subject to a system that values you less as a person and more as a figure to be controlled, admired, and often silenced. Take a moment to settle into this new reality, because what you're about to experience is the story of a woman navigating the rigid, dangerous, and paradoxical world of Victorian England, where beauty, obedience, and fragility are paramount. But so too are the dangers that lurk behind every societal norm. From the moment you wake up, your survival is shaped by forces beyond your control. This isn't just a day in the life, it's an endurance test of pain, restriction, and performance. Your day begins with the first horror, the cold. It's not the typical chill of a forgotten window or a night without blankets. No, this is the bone-deep cold that seems to invade your very soul. You can feel it even in your stiff, uncomfortable bed. This is no soft mattress or warm duvet. You're lying on a lumpy sack stuffed with straw, with your back already aching and the pillow beneath you hard and musty. This isn't the cozy, modern bedroom you're used to, where comfort and warmth are easy to come by. The room itself is small, stark, and poorly lit by the dim, gray light filtering through curtains that look more like a faded memory than anything functional. But this isn't a dream. This is your reality now. And you can feel it in every aching muscle, every confused thought. You look around. The wallpaper? It's green, but not the vibrant, rich green you might expect. No, it's an unsettling shade, one that triggers a strange feeling of unease as you remember horrifyingly that Victorian green wallpaper often contained arsenic. And now, as you breathe in the air, you realize that the poison may already be creeping into your lungs. You can almost feel it. Before you have a chance to process it fully, you're interrupted. A young maid, barely more than a girl, appears at your bedside. You nearly jump out of your skin. She's wearing a plain gray dress with a white cap and apron, the typical attire of those who serve in this world. But then she speaks, addressing you by your title, calling you Miss, and suddenly it feels like the pieces of your new life are beginning to fit into place, even if that life seems entirely foreign to you. Miss, you must wake up. Your mother expects you downstairs for breakfast in 1 hour. We have much to do. You're taken aback. How do you know this girl? What's happening to you? You haven't even had time to ask yourself those questions when, to your horror, the words that come out of your mouth are not your own. Yes, Martha, please prepare my wash water. What in the world? Who is Martha? And why did you say that? But somehow, these words seem entirely natural to your body, your mind, as if you've said them countless times before. Your hand moves on its own, and you watch as Martha starts to prepare the wash water, taking a pitcher and basin, pouring water from the pitcher into the bowl as she does. There's no bathroom here, no toilet, no shower, just this small basin of cold, damp water. There's no real comfort in this ritual, and yet, somehow, it feels like you've done it your whole life. As Martha brings the damp cloth to your face, you shiver at the cold, and your body protests. This is not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. You can't help but feel the vulnerability of this moment. In a time before antibiotics, even a simple cold could kill you. But there's no time for that thought to linger. The fire in the small fireplace catches, and Martha tells you it's warming up nicely. But the flames are nothing compared to the biting cold in the room. And then it's time for your toilette, your beauty routine. The first part of what's going to be a long, uncomfortable series of rituals. Beauty, you soon realize, is not just about looking good, it's about enduring the most painful and toxic things society demands of you to meet its impossible standards of femininity. Martha presents you with various bottles and jars, and you glance over at one that catches your eye. Dr. Campbell's arsenic complexion wafers. As you ask her if that's what it is, Martha reassures you in the most unsettling way possible. Yes, miss, as you requested. The apothecary assures they're perfectly safe. Just a very small amount of arsenic to clear the blood. Arsenic. You're about to eat arsenic. You realize, horrifyingly, that you aren't even surprised. In fact, you know deep down that this is part of the process of becoming beautiful. Pale skin is essential, a sign of wealth and beauty, in a time when a tan would mark you as someone who worked outside. To achieve this porcelain complexion, women like you and many others poison themselves with this deadly substance. The terrifying realization doesn't stop there. Your makeup routine includes even more dangerous chemicals. Belladonna, or deadly nightshade, a plant that can cause blindness, is used to dilate your pupils. It's applied directly into your eyes, leaving a burning sensation that makes your heart race. Your vision blurs, and for a moment, panic sets in. But then, as you blink away the tears, the world settles into a hazy, surreal quality, and you're left with enormous pupils that make you look perpetually startled beautiful by Victorian standards. But at what cost? And then, your hair. It hasn't been washed in weeks because washing hair too frequently was considered unhealthy during this time. Instead, it was brushed relentlessly to distribute oils, with 100 strokes every night. Martha begins to brush your hair, and you wince in pain. It feels as though tiny knives are digging into your scalp, but you bear it, because, like the rest of this torment, you have no choice. Now it's time for the pièce de résistance, getting dressed. Dressing as a Victorian woman isn't a simple affair. It's an entire production, requiring assistance and the patience of a saint. First, the chemise, a loose-fitting undergarment. Then, the drawers, loose cotton shorts with an open crotch, designed to make using the chamber pot easier. Finally, the corset. The sight of it fills you with a sense of dread. Made of whale, bone, and steel, it's designed to cinch your waist to an impossible size while pushing your breasts up to your chin. You raise your arms as Martha starts tightening the corset. With each pull of the laces, your lungs are squeezed tighter, your ribs are compressed, and your body protests. You gasp. But Martha insists, "Just a bit tighter, miss. Your waist was 19 inches at Lady Harrington's ball last week. Mrs. Fairchild's daughter had 18 and a half. Your mother was displeased." Each pull of the laces is excruciating, and your body can't help but adjust to the shallow breaths it's allowed to take. Long-term corset use can deform your ribs, cause digestive issues, and leave you struggling to breathe, but this is the price of beauty and status in Victorian society. Your waist is reduced to an impossibly small measurement, 19 inches, and when you glance down, you barely recognize your body. It's no longer your body, it's the body of a Victorian woman, molded and shaped by impossible standards. As the day progresses, you realize that everything in this world is working against you. The clothes, the beauty products, even the air you breathe, are all toxic. You are constantly being squeezed into an impossible mold with little regard for your comfort or your health. You are not a person in this society. You are an object, a figure to be admired, a woman to be controlled. And yet this is your life. This is the world you must navigate. Every step you take, every breath you manage to eke out, is a calculated performance, and it's one that you must endure for survival. To be a woman in 1,860 seconds Victorian England is to perform femininity on the highest level, and to pay the price for it day in and day out. So welcome to your new reality. This is Victorian England, and this is what it means to be a woman here. You'll face unimaginable challenges, but you'll also learn about the resilience, survival, and quiet strength of the women who live this life every single day. This is your story, now one of endurance, one of survival, and one of the strange paradoxical beauty found in the small spaces where women were allowed to exist. The first part of your day unfolds like a series of grueling yet habitual rituals. But the pain of tight laces and poison in your makeup isn't your only challenge. The world around you is constantly reminding you of the roles you must play, the positions you must maintain, and the ways you must move through society. In Victorian England, beauty and virtue were inseparable, yet they came at a high cost. You step out of your bedroom, carefully avoiding the hem of your voluminous skirts as they drag on the floor, picking up the dirt, dust, and filth of a London that is barely visible through the fog. It's a world of harsh smells, coal, smoke, horse manure, raw sewage, all of which mingle together to create a stench that assaults your senses with every breath you take. You, a delicate woman of privilege, must suffer in silence, performing your role with perfect decorum, no matter the discomfort or indignity that accompanies it. And yet, you are not alone in your suffering. The maid, Martha, follows behind you as you descend the narrow staircase, carefully holding the train of your gown to avoid tripping. The weight of your dress is crushing, but it's only a prelude to what lies ahead. You are not allowed to feel the weight of your reality, nor are you allowed to express any discomfort. Any sign of weakness is seen as a failure of character, a flaw in your ability to perform your femininity as society expects. There are no escapes, no options for you to carve out your own identity. Everything you do, every gesture, every word is scrutinized, calculated, and judged. As you reach the bottom of the stairs, you're greeted by the stern face of your mother, seated at the head of the breakfast table. Her gaze is piercing, cold. She's the embodiment of Victorian propriety, holding the weight of social expectations upon her shoulders. Your father is already seated, buried behind his newspaper, offering nothing in terms of guidance or affection. There's little to be had from him. His attention is always fixed on the affairs of the world outside, and in his eyes, you are just another piece in the game of social climbing. Margaret, your mother says, her tone formal, detached. You're late. Lady Pembroke's daughters are always punctual. Your toilet took longer than expected, I assume. There's no warmth, no softness in her voice. Just the reminder that you are not allowed to deviate from what is expected of you. You sit down at the table, acutely aware of the sharp contrast between your plate and your father's. He served a heaping plate of eggs, sausage, and toast. He's a man, entitled to eat his fill. You, on the other hand, have a single poached egg, half a piece of dry toast, and a cup of weak tea. There is no question that women, especially women of your class, must remain thin, fragile, never to indulge in the excesses that men are allowed. Your small meal, small waist, and delicate constitution are all part of the performance. To eat too much would be disgraceful, indulgent, unbecoming of a woman. You take a delicate bite, your posture impeccable, even as you feel the constriction of the corset around your ribs. Your mother speaks again, her gaze fixed on you. The Blackwoods have invited us to dinner tomorrow evening. Edward will be there. He's recently inherited his uncle's shipping business, a substantial fortune. He's only 26. The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. You already know what this is. It's not an invitation to dinner. It's an audition. Your family has been positioning you for this moment for weeks, perhaps months. And now, you are expected to meet the standard. You are to appear beautiful, well-mannered, desirable, and, above all, willing to submit to the role assigned to you by your family, by society, by Edward Blackwood himself. Your mother continues, completely unaware of the swirling thoughts in your mind. You will wear the blue silk gown with the lace trim tomorrow. You know the one that makes your waist look even smaller than it already is. The implication is clear. Your mother doesn't care about your opinion, your thoughts, your feelings. She cares about the way you will make Edward Blackwood and through him your entire family look. You are not a woman in her own right. You are a commodity, a tool for your family's upward mobility. You nod in agreement, though a part of you resists. You think of the man they want you to marry, the man who will, with a few words, absorb your entire existence. Edward Blackwood, a man you have never met, will soon be the one who controls your future, your name, your property, your body. Your independence will vanish the moment you say yes. But in this world, saying no is not an option. If you refuse, you risk bringing disgrace upon your family, rendering yourself unmarriageable, relegating yourself to a life of poverty, or worse. After breakfast, you retreat to your duties, a never-ending series of tasks that serve to reinforce the idea that your value is tied to your ability to maintain a household, to manage servants, to present yourself as the ideal Victorian woman. Your day is punctuated by endless tasks of domesticity, reviewing menus for the week, managing finances, making sure every detail of your household is in perfect order. Your mother is a master of these domestic skills, and you are her apprentice, learning how to maintain appearances at all costs. One misstep, one financial disaster, and your family could tumble from its current position into the working class, a fate worse than death in Victorian society. The weight of it all is crushing, but you soldier on. You know your role. You were born into it. As you walk through the house, inspecting the linens, taking inventory, you find yourself wondering what it would have been like to have a life of your own choosing. What if you weren't forced into a world that views your every move, every thought, as a commodity to be traded for the benefit of others? But then your thoughts are interrupted. There is no time for such indulgence. The maid, Martha, enters, her eyes wide, as she reminds you of the next task, preparing for the social call to Mrs. Harrington. You adjust your posture, composing yourself once again. The thought of your own desires, your own life, fades into the background. It is not your place to think of such things. The rest of your day is filled with more performances. You must show the world that you are graceful, intelligent, and in control, even though beneath it all you are exhausted. The act of being a Victorian woman is, at its core, an exhausting, relentless performance. Your movements are calculated. Your words are carefully measured. Every gesture, every glance, every interaction is scrutinized by others. You must navigate the labyrinth of societal expectations, all while hiding the immense pressure it puts on you. As the day comes to a close, you prepare for the evening. Another dress, another corset, another transformation into the woman you must be to survive in this world. The evening gown is more elaborate, more restrictive than the morning dress, and the corset feels even tighter. The weight of your skirt feels like an anchor, dragging you down. Yet you keep walking, keeping your back straight, your head held high, because this is your world now. You are a performer on a stage, and every step you take is part of the act. You meet your mother, who's dressed for the occasion, with her own expectations firmly in place. You are expected to be perfect, to behave with grace, to smile and laugh at the right moments, and to keep your thoughts to yourself. The social world you inhabit is one of subtle, unspoken rules. Every action must be correct, every interaction precisely calibrated. If you make the wrong move, if you step out of line, your reputation can be ruined in an instant. Dinner with the Blackwoods comes, and with it, the culmination of your efforts. You are presented to Edward, the man who might one day be your husband. He is not unkind, but you sense his calculating gaze, assessing you as if you were an object for sale. He is looking for a woman who fits the mold, who is beautiful, delicate, and obedient. Nothing more. You are not a person to him. You are a symbol, a trophy, a woman who will one day become his property. The dinner is stiff, awkward, full of polite conversation and shallow pleasantries. You are expected to play your part to show interest without revealing too much about yourself. You smile when you're supposed to, laugh at his jokes, nod at the appropriate moments. Your opinion doesn't matter. It never has. You are only here to make a good impression, to secure your future as his wife. As the evening draws to a close, you are left with the suffocating realization of your role in this world. You will never be free. Not in this life. Not in this time. Your choices are limited. Your body is not your own, and your future is determined by the whims of men like Edward Blackwood. The only thing left to do is endure. And so, you endure. You smile. You laugh. And you play your part because this is your life now. A life defined by others, dictated by society, and controlled by forces beyond your control. The weight of it all presses down on you, but there is no escape. You are a Victorian woman, and your existence is shaped by the demands of the world around you. But even as you surrender to this life, there's a small flicker of rebellion within you. A quiet voice, hidden deep inside, refuses to accept this fate without question. You wonder for just a moment what might have been, but the voice is quickly silenced. There is no room for such thoughts in your world. As you return to your room that night, exhausted from the day's performances, you can't help but wonder what life would be like if you had the freedom to choose your own path. But as the candles burn low and the sounds of London's industrial streets echo outside your window, you are reminded that, in this world, women like you have no such luxury. Tomorrow will come, and with it, more performances, more constraints, more expectations, and you, once again, will be expected to meet them all. Such is the fate of a Victorian woman. The next morning arrives with an identical chill, a familiar sense of dread sinking into your bones as soon as you open your eyes. You are once again lying on the lumpy, straw-filled mattress, staring up at the uneven ceiling. The faint green light filtering through the thin curtains does little to dispel the oppressive atmosphere of your Victorian room. The air is thick with a coldness that seeps into your bones, And the reality of your existence as a woman in this time feels suffocating. It is not just the physical discomfort that weighs heavily on you, though that is certainly a part of it. It is the mental exhaustion, the awareness that every moment of your day is a performance, an attempt to navigate a world designed to keep you small, quiet, and obedient. A world where every choice, every movement is scrutinized, and your worth is determined by your appearance and ability to conform to rigid expectations. As you sit up in bed, your back already aching from the stiff mattress, you wonder how many women in this era are silently enduring the same fate. How many others have been conditioned to accept their role without question? How many have resigned themselves to a life of submission, never once daring to dream of something different? The question haunts you, but there is no time to ponder it long. The demands of your day are already beginning, as inevitable as the sunrise. Martha, the maid, enters as she always does. She's a familiar presence now, a quiet companion in this world that feels like a prison. Her face is set with the practiced indifference of someone who has long accepted her position, someone who knows her place in the hierarchy of Victorian society. There is no room for rebellion in her eyes, no sign of the small acts of defiance that you secretly nurture within yourself. "Miss, the washwater is prepared," Martha says, her voice soft but steady. You nod, though you can barely bring yourself to care about the ritual at this moment. You follow her to the corner of the room where a small pitcher and basin sit, the water in the basin cold and uninviting. She dips a damp cloth into the water, adding the faintest hint of rose water and indulgence, she assures you, but one that you prefer. Somehow, you know she is right, even though the words are not your own. You stand there, shivering slightly, as Martha dabs the cloth gently across your face, wiping away the remnants of sleep and the day before. The cold is unbearable, and the discomfort it causes only seems to accentuate the misery of your situation. But you endure it, as all women in this world must. The ritual is the same every day. The cold water, the lingering discomfort, the quiet submission to what must be done to maintain appearances. As Martha dresses you for the day, you brace yourself for what's to come. The corset is tightened, each pull of the laces constricting your breathing, pressing your ribs together in a painful embrace. You gasp for air, but it's no use, the corset is too tight. You know, deep down, that this is more than just a physical discomfort. It is a metaphor for your entire life. You are constantly squeezed into a mold, forced to fit the expectations of society, never allowed to breathe fully, never allowed to exist freely. Martha steps back, her hands resting on your waist, once she finishes the lacing. "There we are, miss. Your waist looks lovely, as always," she says, her voice laced with a quiet pride. But the pride is not for you. It is for her ability to conform to the rules, to carry out her duties with the efficiency expected of her. There is no recognition of the suffocating pain in your chest, no understanding of the torment you endure to meet these impossible standards. All that matters is that you look beautiful, pale, delicate, and obedient. You glance at yourself in the mirror as you finish dressing. Your reflection stares back at you, pale skin, large eyes from the belladonna, a waist so small it seems unnatural, and an expression that betrays nothing of the weariness and resentment bubbling beneath the surface. This is not you, not really. This is the woman you've become, the woman society demands you be. You look beautiful by Victorian standards, but you feel like a prisoner trapped in a gilded cage. The rest of your morning unfolds like clockwork. You sit down to breakfast with your family, your mother's eyes appraising your every movement as she evaluates your readiness for the day ahead. She is a woman who knows how to navigate the complex social rules of this world and she expects nothing less from you. Your father remains largely silent, as always, absorbed in his own world of business and affairs, offering no real guidance or affection. After breakfast, your mother assigns you the tasks of the day, more social calls, more appearances to maintain. As a young woman of your class, your role is clear. You must be a perfect representation of grace, beauty, and refinement. Your worth is tied not to your intelligence, your ambitions, or your desires, but to your ability to fulfill this role. You are not allowed to think for yourself, to choose your own path. Your value lies in your ability to conform to the expectations of others. The weight of these expectations presses on you as you navigate the day. You meet with Mrs. Harrington, the social visit a carefully orchestrated affair. Your conversation is polite, superficial, a dance of words where neither party dares to say anything of real substance. You discuss the weather, the latest fashion trends, and the health of various acquaintances. Your opinions are of no consequence. What matters is how you present yourself, how you behave in the presence of others. As you sit in Mrs. Harrington's drawing room, sipping tea from a delicate porcelain cup, you can't help but feel the stifling weight of your existence. You have no voice in the matters that affect you most. You are a pawn in the game of marriage, a bargaining chip to be traded for social and financial gain. Your future, your happiness, is determined by the whims of others, your parents, your potential suitors, society itself. After the visit, you return home, your mind spinning with thoughts of the Blackwoods, of Edward, and of the dinner tomorrow night. There is no escaping the reality of what is expected of you. You must impress him. Make him want you not for who you are, but for who you represent. You must fit into his world, just as you have been shaped to fit into society's expectations. Later in the evening, you prepare for the dinner with the Blackwoods. The gown you wear is even more elaborate than before, with intricate lacework and layers of fabric that weigh heavily on your body. You can barely breathe in the corset, and the dress feels like a prison of its own, but you must wear it, because this is what is expected of you. The blue silk dress, chosen by your mother, is the perfect image of Victorian femininity, modest, yet exquisite. It is designed to highlight your small waist, your delicate features, and your ability to present yourself as an ideal wife. You arrive at the Blackwood household, and the grandeur of the home takes your breath away. It is a world you are only just beginning to understand, a world of wealth, power, and influence. Edward stands at the center of it all, his presence commanding attention as he watches you approach. His gaze is not kind, it is cold. Calculating, he is assessing you, determining if you are worthy of being his wife, of fulfilling the role he expects you to play. The dinner itself is a formal affair, with multiple courses and endless small talk. You are seated beside Edward, and the conversation is strained, as expected. You say the right things at the right moments, laughing when necessary, remaining silent when you know your opinion will not be welcomed. You feel the weight of your role in this world, always performing, always playing a part, always pretending to be someone you are not. Edward's questions are polite but probing. He wants to know about your family, your background, your accomplishments, anything that will make you appear more desirable in his eyes. You answer as best as you can, knowing that each word is being weighed against the social expectations of the time. Your future, your life, rests on this night. The way you behave, the way you present yourself, will determine your fate. As the evening winds down, you can't shake the feeling that you are nothing more than an object being evaluated, examined, and appraised. Edward's gaze lingers on you, and you can almost feel the weight of his judgment. He is not interested in who you are, but in what you can offer him, your beauty, your obedience, your ability to conform to the rigid expectations of Victorian society. You leave the Blackwoods house with your mother, her words of approval ringing in your ears. She is pleased with how well you've behaved, how perfectly you've fulfilled your role. But as you walk down the street, the weight of the evening presses on you. You are no closer to freedom than you were when you woke up this morning. You are still trapped in a world where your worth is determined by your ability to meet the expectations of others. Your future is not your own. It belongs to your family, to Edward, to society itself. Tomorrow, you will face another day of performances, another day of fulfilling the role that has been assigned to you. You will continue to endure, to survive, to navigate a world that offers you no escape. But deep inside, a quiet rebellion stirs. You know that there must be more to life than this, more than the suffocating confines of beauty, obedience, and submission. But for now, you must silence that voice and continue to play your part. Such is the fate of a Victorian woman. The journey of survival is long, and the price of conformity is steep. But the question remains, will you ever find a way to break free? Or will you, like so many women before you, continue to endure this life with no escape and no voice of your own? The answer, for now, is unknown. But the struggle continues, and so too does your journey. The morning after your first dinner with Edward Blackwood arrives, with a heavy silence that feels suffocating in its stillness. The light that filters through the thick, arsenic-laced wallpaper seems to weigh on you more today than ever before. The room is as cold and uncomfortable as it was the day before, and the weight of your life feels as constricting as the corset you've already donned. You have learned to live in the spaces between expectations, carving out little moments of rebellion, but those moments are fleeting, gone before they can take root. Today is no different. As you sit in front of your mirror, brushing your hair in silence, the reflection staring back at you seems so foreign. This woman before you, with her pale skin, her impossibly small waist, her eyes swollen from the belladonna drops, is she really you? Are these your features, or are they the mask you have been forced to wear? It's not just the cosmetics, not just the corset though, those things make you feel like a prisoner in your own body. No, it's more than that. It's the constant pressure to behave in certain ways, to speak only when spoken to smile when necessary, to remain silent when expected. In this world, your very existence is a performance, a carefully orchestrated play, where your lines are scripted and your emotions are controlled. This is the world you've been thrust into, a world that demands that you suppress who you are in order to fit into a role you never chose. The weight of it all is unbearable. You've lived in this world for mere days, and yet it already feels like a lifetime. You think of the women you've met, your mother, Martha, Lady Harrington, each of them playing their part with grace, never faltering in their roles. They've been conditioned to believe that this is their only choice. They live with the illusion that if they just endure, just perform, they will one day be rewarded. And yet, there is no reward. There is only endless survival, day after day. After another excruciating breakfast, one in which your mother critiques your every movement and your father offers no more than a grunt of approval, you are sent off to visit a friend. It's an event that's becoming all too familiar, another social call, another carefully orchestrated performance. You know the drill. Smile, ask about the health of others, never reveal too much, and always remain the image of grace. Your mother insists that you make a good impression, as though the value of your entire existence rests on how others perceive you. There is no space for anything beyond that. As you arrive at Lady Pembroke's house, a grand, imposing structure that reeks of wealth and privilege, the reality of your position as a woman in this world becomes even clearer. You are not here because you want to be. You are here because you must be. It is expected of you, and your role has been determined long before you ever had the chance to consider a life of your own making. Lady Pembroke greets you with a faint smile, one that doesn't reach her eyes. She is playing the same game, just as you are, navigating the invisible lines of propriety with the skill of a seasoned actress. The conversation, as always, is polite but shallow. You talk about fashion, about the weather, about the latest social events. You smile when appropriate and keep your thoughts to yourself. You have learned to mask your true feelings, to bury your desires beneath layers of decorum and politeness. And yet, despite the outward calm, a storm is brewing within you. You can feel it in the tightness of your chest, the way your breath becomes shallow, the way your heart races when you think about what lies ahead. Edward Blackwood, the man who will soon become your husband, is waiting for you. You can feel his gaze upon you, his scrutiny, his judgment. Every interaction with him, every glance, every word is a test. You are not allowed to show your true self, not allowed to let your emotions show. Your mother is already planning the next dinner with the Blackwoods. Edward will be there, she says, her voice dripping with a mixture of anticipation and calculation. You know what this means. Another performance, another test. This time, it is not just your appearance that will be scrutinized. It is your ability to fit into the world Edward occupies, to become the woman he desires, a woman who will stand by his side, quietly, obediently, and without question. The thought of it makes you feel small, insignificant. You are not a woman to him. You are an object, a commodity to be traded, a symbol of status and wealth. He will choose you not for your mind, your heart, or your soul, but for your ability to embody everything that is expected of you as a woman in this world. You will be beautiful, delicate, and subservient, and that, it seems, will be enough. But even as you sit in the drawing room, listening to Lady Pembroke talk about the latest gossip, a small spark of rebellion flickers within you. You don't want this. You don't want to be another object in the game of marriage, another woman whose worth is determined by the men who control her life. You want to break free, to make your own choices, to live for yourself. But you know that's impossible. Not in this world, not for a woman like you. The hours drag on, the conversation becoming increasingly tedious. You feel the weight of your role more acutely with each passing moment. Your mother and Lady Pembroke exchange pleasantries, discussing the latest trends in fashion, while you sit in silence, a mere observer of the performance around you. You smile politely, nodding along to their words, but inside, you feel like you are suffocating. The worst part is that you know this isn't just about appearances. It's about your entire future. It's about the life you will lead, the man who will own you, and the role you will play for the rest of your life. There is no room for you in this world to be anything other than what is expected of you. As the visit comes to a close, your mother's voice snaps you back to reality. You must be on your best behavior at the Blackwoods' dinner tomorrow, Margaret, she says, her eyes filled with expectation. Remember, Edward is a man of wealth and influence. He will be watching you, and your future will be decided by how you behave. You nod, your heart sinking in your chest. You know what is expected of you. You've known since the moment you were born. You are not allowed to have a life of your own. Your life belongs to your family, to Edward, to society. You are a woman. And in this world, women do not have the luxury of making their own choices. You return home, the weight of the day's performance hanging heavily on your shoulders. The evening passes in silence. with your family once again falling into the comfortable routine of polite conversation and shallow pleasantries. Your mother talks about the Blackwoods. Your father offers little more than a grunt, and your sisters remain silent, as they always do. Later that night, as you prepare for bed, you glance at your reflection in the mirror one last time. The woman staring back at you is not the woman you want to be. She is the woman society has molded, the woman your family has shaped. She is beautiful, delicate, and obedient, but she is not free. She is a woman who has been taught to perform, to play a role, to submit to the expectations of others. She is a woman who will spend her life pretending to be someone she is not. As you lie in bed, the weight of your corset pressing against your ribs, you wonder what it would be like to be free, to live without the constant pressure to conform, to please, to perform. You wonder what it would be like to choose your own future, to be the master of your own fate. But the thought is fleeting. In this world, freedom is a luxury that women like you cannot afford. Tomorrow, you will go to the Blackwoods dinner, and you will play your part once again. You will smile, you will laugh, and you will conform to the role that has been assigned to you. Because that is all you can do. That is all any woman in this world can do. But even as you submit to this reality, you cannot help but wonder, how long will you be able to endure? How long before the weight of it all crushes you? How long before you break free, or are broken by the life that has been chosen for you? These questions linger in your mind as you drift into a restless sleep, the sound of the city outside muffled by the weight of your thoughts. Tomorrow will come, and with it, more performances, more masks to wear, more roles to play. But deep inside, a small voice keeps whispering, there must be more to life than this. The day of the Blackwoods dinner arrives with a sense of inevitability, a crushing weight pressing down on your chest, and yet a strange mix of anticipation and dread twists inside you. The morning feels like every other, cold, oppressive, filled with the ritual of preparation. The atmosphere is thick with the knowledge that tonight will be another performance, one in which you will play your part and nothing more. You will be beautiful. You will be obedient. You will smile when needed, laugh at the right moments, and do exactly as you're expected to do. But there's something more today, something that you can't quite explain, something small but significant, a flicker of defiance, a whisper of rebellion deep inside you. It's been building bit by bit ever since you first stepped into this world, but you have buried it beneath layers of expectation, beneath the constant pressure to conform. For a moment, though, it rises to the surface. Perhaps it's the quiet realization that, despite all of the performance, all of the control, and all of the rules, you are still, at your core, a person. You are still a woman with desires, with thoughts, with a heart that beats in rhythm with the world around you. Your body may be encased in layers of silk and steel, bound by the constraints of beauty and propriety, but your spirit is something that can never truly be imprisoned. You turn from the mirror, your reflection staring back at you, a pale, delicate figure encased in a corset, so tight it steals your breath with every movement. Your waist is impossibly small, the image of Victorian beauty, small, fragile, a breath away from collapse. The tightness of the corset is a constant reminder of the box you have been placed in, the role you must play in this world. You try to breathe deeply, but the constriction in your chest makes it nearly impossible. Miss, your mother will be waiting for you. Martha's voice interrupts the quiet silence that has settled over you. You turn to face her, offering a small, forced smile and nod. The morning's preparations are complete, and now it's time for the evening's performance to begin. The evening wears on like every other. The servants bustle around, preparing the household for yet another formal dinner. Another opportunity to prove your family's status. Another chance to show the world that you are the perfect daughter, the perfect woman. You are required to sit still, to remain composed, to not speak unless spoken to. You are a piece in a game, a pawn moving through the motions of society's expectations. But even as you navigate the dinner preparations with a quiet grace, the flicker of resistance within you grows stronger. You are becoming more aware of the small injustices, the silences that suffocate your every breath, and the quiet, constant erosion of your sense of self. There are moments when you feel yourself slipping, when you wonder if this is all there is to your life. The dinners, the dresses, the corsets, they are all part of the performance, the endless game of appearances and expectations. When you finally arrive at the Blackwood's mansion, the opulence of the home strikes you, as it always does. The grand, dark wood paneling, the crystal chandeliers that catch the light and refract it in every direction. The perfectly arranged rooms all serve as a reminder of the power and wealth that Edward Blackwood wields. He is not just a man. He is a symbol, a representation of the life you are expected to lead, the life you will soon be a part of. And yet, even as you step through the threshold, you feel a strange sense of disconnection from it all. This world, this life, this is not your own. You are merely a spectator in it, trapped in a game that you did not choose to play. You are not an individual here. You are a reflection of the role you have been assigned, a reflection of the desires and expectations of those around you. You cannot be yourself, not fully. You cannot speak your mind. You cannot stand tall in the world that is meant to contain you. You are always performing. As you enter the drawing room, you catch Edward's gaze, the cold, calculating look in his eyes making your stomach twist. His eyes roam over you, appraising your beauty, your demeanor, your ability to conform. You know that tonight, more than any other night, will be a test. This dinner will determine your future, the moment when your life becomes officially entwined with his. When you are no longer just a daughter in your family's house, but a woman bound to a man. You offer a quiet curtsy, your body stiff from the corset, your mind already bracing for what is to come. You know the dance well, the polite conversation, the small talk, the subtle testing of each other's boundaries. Edward will try to gauge how well you fit into his world, into the role he expects you to play. Your beauty, your grace, your ability to be the perfect woman for him, all of these things will be weighed tonight. You must perform. Dinner is a grand affair. Several courses are served: roast meats, vegetables, delicate pastries. It is all a display, a performance of wealth and indulgence, a reminder that you, as a woman, are meant to adorn the table, to add to the spectacle of it all. You eat little, as always, for fear of appearing greedy or immodest. The food on your plate seems to mock you: so much excess, so much indulgence. Yet you are not allowed to partake fully. It is the way of things. You are here to look beautiful, not to partake in the pleasures of the world. You must remain delicate, fragile, just as your appearance demands. Edward speaks to you occasionally, his voice smooth, his words polite, but there is something in his tone that makes your skin crawl. He is assessing you, evaluating your worth, as though you are an object, a possession to be appraised. He is not speaking to you as a person, as an equal. He is speaking to you as a potential acquisition, a piece to add to his collection of wealth and status. You are a prize, and he is the hunter, carefully choosing the best of the lot. You endure the conversation, your mind drifting as you nod and smile in all the right places. Your responses are measured, calculated, designed to keep his interest without revealing too much. You are not allowed to be yourself. In this world, the self is an illusion, a mask that must be worn to ensure survival. Your thoughts, your desires, your dreams, they must remain hidden beneath layers of politeness and perfection. After dinner, the women withdraw to the drawing room. As always, the men stay behind to discuss business and politics, and you, as a woman, must remain in the shadows, waiting for your time to shine, waiting for your moment to prove your worth. You sit with the other women, engaging in polite conversation, as you always do. They talk about their children, their husbands, their upcoming social engagements. You listen, but you do not speak much. Your opinions are of no consequence here. You are not meant to think or speak outside of the carefully prescribed roles assigned to you. But as the evening wears on, a deep, unsettling feeling grows inside you. This is not the life you want. This is not the life you envisioned for yourself. The thought of spending the rest of your days in this gilded cage, performing for the world, hiding your true self, this thought is unbearable. You look around the room at the women who sit with you, their faces composed, their eyes empty of any real joy. You see the same silent suffering in their eyes, the same quiet resignation. They, too, are trapped in this world. They, too, are performing. You glance back at Edward across the room. He speaks with his mother, his smile polite but distant, as though he is already calculating the next steps in the game. You are a part of his game, a piece to be moved around on the chessboard of society. But you are not a person to him. You are just another step in his ascent to power. And in that moment, something within you snaps. The flicker of rebellion that you've been suppressing for so long grows into a blazing fire. You are not an object. You are not a piece to be traded. You are not a puppet, and you will not live the rest of your life as one. You do not belong in this world of cages and performances. The thought terrifies you, for you know that to act on it would be to lose everything: your family's approval, your place in society, your future. But the thought is there, and it cannot be erased. You can't keep pretending to be someone you're not. You can't keep sacrificing yourself for the approval of men like Edward Blackwood. As you sit in the drawing room, listening to the polite conversation around you, you realize that you have two choices. You can continue to perform, to conform, to survive in this world of constraints and expectations. Or you can fight for your own freedom, fight for your voice, fight for your right to be more than just a woman in a corset, a woman in a cage. The choice feels monumental, and yet it feels as though the decision has already been made for you. You look around the room one last time, taking in the women who sit beside you, their faces frozen in the masks of propriety, their voices muted by fear and tradition. You wonder, will you be like them, content to live out your days in silence? Or will you find the courage to break free, to challenge the roles that have been assigned to you? As you stand to leave the Blackwoods mansion later that evening, you know that something has changed within you. The fire of rebellion burns brighter now, and the world that once seemed so suffocating now feels like a battleground, one in which you may, for the first time, have a say in your own fate. The days blur together after that fateful dinner with Edward Blackwood. Each day feels like a repeat of the last. The rituals of Victorian life: preparation, performance, submission, an unyielding routine that seems to grind away at any semblance of individuality or freedom. You awake every morning to the same bitter cold, the same tight corset, the same inescapable expectations. Yet the feeling of rebellion that ignited within you after that night has not died. It simmers beneath the surface, an ember that you cannot quite extinguish, no matter how hard you try. You still have moments where you convince yourself that it is easier to comply. It would be so much easier to fit back into the mold, to take up your place in society, to marry Edward, become a wife, and fulfill the role expected of you. The comfort of conformity whispers to you, seduces you with the promise of security, of belonging. But those moments of peace are fleeting, crushed by the truth that gnaws at you every waking moment, that you are a prisoner in a gilded cage. Each day feels more suffocating than the last. As you dress in the morning, you are reminded again of the cage that your body has become. The corset, tightly laced, compresses your ribs, forcing shallow breaths. Your waist, impossibly small, feels fragile, like a porcelain doll's. The beauty that society demands you embody has a price, and that price is your freedom. Your own body is not your own. The skin that stretches across your frame is just another object, something to be polished, perfected, and displayed. You are not allowed to exist as you are. You are only allowed to exist as others want you to be. The day's schedule is already set. Another round of social visits. Another set of carefully calculated pleasantries. Martha arrives with your wash water. The coolness of the cloth against your skin, a reminder of the harshness of the life you lead. You let her prepare you as she always does, wiping the sleep from your eyes with a damp cloth, arranging your hair into the perfect style, and lacing your corset tighter than ever. This is the daily ritual that you have come to know so well, and yet each day it feels more like an assault on your very existence. You can no longer pretend that you are happy in this life. The facade of perfection, the smile that must always be in place, the silence that must fill every space, it is all becoming unbearable. The woman you see in the mirror each morning is not a person but an idea, an object, something to be looked at and admired but never truly known. You are becoming a reflection of everything society wants you to be, and nothing more. This constant performance wears on your spirit. Even the simple act of speaking feels like a betrayal of your true self, your desires, and your thoughts. You catch yourself, once again, nodding along during a conversation with your mother, pretending to be interested in the latest gossip about Lady Pembroke's family, when all you can think about is how to break free from the life that has been mapped out for you. The thought of marrying Edward Blackwood fills you with dread. He is not a man you want. He is not the partner you desire. He is the key to your prison. And the thought of giving him that power, of giving him your life, makes your skin crawl. Your days have become a series of carefully choreographed events. You spend hours visiting friends and family, attending teas and dinners, playing the role of the perfect daughter and potential wife. There are moments when you try to push the rebellion to the back of your mind. Moments when you try to convince yourself that this life, this world, is not as stifling as it feels. But the more you try to bury your dissatisfaction, the more it rises to the surface, like a bubbling spring that cannot be contained. One afternoon, you visit Mrs. Harrington's home, where the conversation once again turns to the subject of marriage. As usual, your future is a topic of discussion, with Lady Pembroke's daughter, Sophia, and the other women contributing their own ideas about what kind of match you should make. They all speak of Edward Blackwood in the same breathless tones, admiring, calculating, certain that he is the perfect match for you. You listen, but inside, the desire to scream, to protest, to say something, anything, grows louder with each passing moment. But you cannot. You are trapped in this performance, bound by the rules of propriety, unable to voice your thoughts without risking your reputation, your place in society. Later that evening, as you return home, the familiar weight of the corset and the constricting social expectations press on your chest. You pass by the mirror in the hall, and once again you pause to look at the woman staring back at you. Her features are perfectly composed, her skin smooth and pale, her waist impossibly small. She looks delicate, beautiful, and utterly lifeless. She is not you, not really. She is the version of you that society has created, the woman that others expect you to be. And yet, as you stare at her, you cannot help but wonder, who is the woman beneath all of this? The thought is fleeting, but it lingers, like the spark of rebellion that refuses to die. For the first time, you question the life you are living. What if there is more to life than this? What if you could live for yourself, make your own choices, have control over your own future? You can feel the walls closing in, the pressure mounting, and the fire inside you growing ever stronger. The thought of marriage, of Edward, of being bound to a man who sees you as nothing more than an object, this thought becomes unbearable. You can't do it. You won't do it. But the fear is still there. The fear of what might happen if you break free from this world. If you challenge the roles that have been assigned to you, you know that the consequences would be dire. You know that, as a woman, you have no power. You cannot survive outside of the role society has given you. Without a husband, without a family, without the approval of those around you, you would be nothing. The alternatives for women like you are bleak servitude, poverty, and worse. Still, the rebellion inside you grows, a small but steady flame that refuses to be extinguished. It whispers to you at night when you lie in bed, the weight of your corset pressing into your ribs. When the world around you falls into silence, you are not powerless. You are not a doll. You are a person, and you have a right to make your own choices, to carve out your own future. The next evening, as the Blackwoods' dinner draws near, you feel the tension in your body. You cannot continue to live this life. You cannot continue to play this role. But you are still uncertain, still afraid of the consequences, still unsure of what action to take. Edward will be there tonight, watching you, judging you, assessing whether you are the perfect woman he needs. He will be waiting for you to perform. As you dress for the evening, the weight of the corset, the fabric, the beauty regimen, all of it feels like a mask that you can no longer bear to wear. You stand before the mirror, adjusting your gown, and for a moment you wonder, what if I were to simply walk away? What if I were to defy them all, leave this world behind, and start anew? But you know that this is impossible. You cannot escape the expectations of your family, of society, of the role that has been assigned to you. You are a woman, and women like you have no right to freedom. You are bound to the expectations of those around you, whether you like it or not. Still, the fire inside you burns brighter with each passing day. The realization that you are more than just a puppet, more than just a woman in a corset, becomes a source of strength. Tonight, as you sit beside Edward Blackwood, as you smile and laugh and pretend to be the perfect woman, you will know the truth. You are not just the reflection they see. You are more. You are a person with a mind, a heart, and a soul that yearns for freedom. And no matter how tightly they try to bind you, no matter how many roles they try to assign to you, you will not be broken. Not yet, not ever. The days leading up to Edward Blackwood's proposal pass by in a blur. Each morning you wake with the same oppressive weight on your chest, the familiar coldness of the room, and the constant reminder that you are preparing for a life that you never asked for. Every action, every word feels like a performance you can't escape from. You dress each morning in your corset and layers of clothing that restrict your every movement. You smile when required, nod when expected, and speak only when spoken to. Each day, the mask becomes harder to wear, and your desire for freedom grows stronger. But the world you are trapped in has made it clear. There is no room for rebellion, no room for you to live outside the role that has been assigned to you. Your every action is scrutinized. Your every breath is judged. You are not allowed to be yourself, not allowed to express anything other than what society expects from you. And yet, despite the overwhelming pressure to conform, the small flicker of resistance inside you refuses to die. It's there, always, a quiet whisper in the back of your mind, urging you to break free. But each time you entertain the thought, the consequences of doing so come crashing down on you like an avalanche. The loss of family, status, the future you've been promised, these are the stakes of rebellion, and you know it. A woman like you cannot exist outside the rigid confines of Victorian society. Without the protection of a man, you are nothing. The choices you have are limited, and the price of defiance is steep. The night of the proposal arrives, and the tension in your body is unbearable. It is not the fear of Edward's judgment that grips you, but the overwhelming reality of the decision that lies before you. Will you marry him? Will you accept this life that has been mapped out for you? Will you become the woman you were always meant to be, a beautiful, fragile ornament to adorn his life? Or will you find the courage to refuse? The dinner is formal, as always. Edward arrives with his parents, his mother smiling coldly, his father offering a stiff handshake, his eyes appraising you in the way he always does. You curtsy, the movement strained as your corset presses against your ribs. The room is filled with the noise of conversation, the clinking of glasses, the polite laughter, but inside, you feel nothing but a deep, gnawing emptiness. You are expected to be perfect, to be everything that Edward and your family desire. And yet, each passing moment feels like a betrayal of who you truly are. You wear the mask of the ideal Victorian woman, the obedient daughter, the quiet, graceful lady, but the longer you play the role, the more you feel yourself slipping away. There is a person beneath all of this, the woman you used to be, the woman you could still be, but she is buried beneath the expectations of society, suffocated by the weight of the life that has been chosen for you. Edward is seated beside you. His presence is cold as ever. But tonight, there is something different in his demeanor. There is an air of expectation around him, a subtle but unmistakable sense that tonight is the night he will ask for your hand in marriage. His eyes linger on you with a calculated intensity, his words measured and polite, but his actions speak volumes. He is not looking at you as a person, as an individual. He is looking at you as a potential possession, a woman to be owned, a woman to be controlled. As the dinner progresses, your mind begins to race. You watch Edward as he speaks with his parents, his voice smooth and assured, his movements practiced. He has lived this life for years, moving effortlessly through the expectations of society, never questioning the roles that have been assigned to him. He is a man who knows exactly what he wants, and tonight, he will get it. He will ask for your hand, and you will have no choice but to accept. But as you sit there, your mind whirling, your heart heavy with the weight of your options, you realize that there is another choice. It may not be a choice that society will accept. It may not be a choice that will guarantee you a future, a family, or the security that Edward offers. But it is a choice to live for yourself, a choice to reclaim your freedom, to step outside the boundaries that have been drawn around you, and to refuse to be anyone's possession. For the first time, the idea of saying no doesn't feel like a distant fantasy. It doesn't feel like something impossible. It feels like a small but powerful truth, one that could change everything. But the fear is still there. The fear of what will happen if you defy Edward, defy your family, defy the expectations of society. You know that rejecting Edward's proposal means rejecting everything you've ever known. It means losing your place in the world, losing your family's approval, losing everything that has been promised to you. It means standing on the precipice of a life that is completely unknown. The moment arrives, and Edward turns to you, his gaze steady and calculating. His words are carefully chosen, his tone polite but firm. "Margaret," he begins, his voice smooth, "I have thought long and hard about this. I believe we are well suited, and I would be honored if you would be my wife." You feel your heart beat faster, the weight of his words settling over you like a suffocating blanket. The room falls silent as the guests wait for your response, all eyes on you. Your family, your future, your entire life hangs in the balance of this moment. The pressure is unbearable. You look at Edward, and for a fleeting moment, the mask slips. You see him not as the man who will give you security and status, but as the man who sees you as nothing more than a prize to be won. His gaze is empty, calculating, and you feel a cold shiver run down your spine. You open your mouth, and the words come out before you can stop them. "Yes," you say, your voice steady despite the storm raging inside of you. "I will marry you, Edward." The words feel like a death sentence. You have made your choice, and there is no going back. The world around you seems to fade away as you nod your head, the heavy weight of the corset constricting your breathing, the weight of your decision pressing down on your chest. Edward smiles, a smile that doesn't reach his eyes, and your family exchanges pleased glances. The applause begins, polite and restrained, as the realization settles in. You have done what was expected of you. You have made the right choice, the choice that will secure your future, the choice that will please your family, the choice that will make you the perfect wife. But inside, you feel nothing but emptiness. The small flicker of rebellion has been extinguished, snuffed out by the pressure of expectation. You have chosen the life that has been laid out for you, and in doing so, you have lost the freedom to choose anything else. Later that night, as you lie in bed, the silence presses in around you. The weight of the decision hangs heavy in the air, and you feel the walls closing in once again. You are no longer a free woman. You are Edward Blackwood's fiancée, soon to be his wife, soon to be bound to him forever. The rebellion inside you is gone, buried beneath the weight of your decision, and for a moment, you wonder if it was ever real. Was there ever a chance for you to escape this life? Was there ever a way for you to live on your own terms? Or was this always your fate to be nothing more than a reflection of the world around you? As the darkness of the room envelops you, you realize the truth. You are not free. You never were. And in the world you live in, women like you are not meant to be free. You are meant to perform, to please, to be a perfect image of beauty and grace, and nothing more. But even as you lie there, a small part of you refuses to give up. The flicker of rebellion, though dim, is still there. And maybe, just maybe, one day, you will find a way to break free. Until then, you will play the role you have been given, and you will do it as perfectly as possible. But you will not forget that you are more than this. You are more than the corset, the beauty, and the performance. You are a woman, and one day you will reclaim your freedom. As you sit at the table that night, accepting congratulations from your family and Edward's, a strange, suffocating stillness settles over you. The words, "I will marry you," echo in your mind, but they feel disconnected from anything real, as though they belong to someone else. You barely hear the polite murmurs from the other guests, the compliments on your beauty, The words about how fortunate you are to marry into such a respected family. The conversation feels like it is happening in another room, far away. While your mind is consumed with a growing sense of panic, you glance at Edward. His smile is polite, his posture perfect, but beneath the veneer of charm, you see the same coldness that has always been there. He does not look at you as though you are a person. He looks at you as though you are a possession. His eyes flicker over you, appraising you with the same calculating detachment. You are not his equal, not a woman he admires or desires. You are an object to be added to his collection, a piece to further cement his status in society. The realization crashes over you like a wave, and the weight of your decision presses down on you harder than ever. You are not free. You never were, and the life you are about to step into will strip away the last vestiges of autonomy you had left. You were never allowed to be more than what others needed you to be. You excuse yourself from the table, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze on your back as you step away. The hallway feels longer than usual, the house itself seeming to close in around you. You reach your room and close the door behind you, breathing heavily, feeling the tightness of the corset around your chest, the constraints of your world closing in once more. The silence of the room is deafening. You want to scream, to shout out your frustration, but instead, you sit in the corner, your body curled inward, as though trying to protect whatever small spark of yourself still remains. The fire of rebellion that had once burned brightly inside you has been doused, snuffed out by the overwhelming force of societal expectations. You have chosen to play your part in the grand drama of life, but you know the cost. The price of compliance is your soul, and you have just signed away the last shred of your autonomy. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you are transported back to the moment when you first realized you had no choice. When you first understood the suffocating nature of this world, of this life, and the price women like you pay for beauty, for status, for security. You remember the face of your mother, the way she looked at you with pride, and the unspoken expectation that you would follow in her footsteps. You remember the words of Lady Pembroke, her voice dripping with disdain when she spoke of women who didn't know their place. The world around you is one of conformity, of control, and you are a small part in its machinery, a cog in the wheel that keeps turning. A knock on the door pulls you from your thoughts. You don't need to open it to know who it is. Martha's soft voice calls from the other side, and you feel the knot in your stomach tighten. You open the door reluctantly, and she steps inside, her eyes soft with concern. "Miss, your mother is asking for you. The evening is nearly over, and everyone is waiting for you." You nod silently, feeling the weight of her words settle over you. The evening is over, but your life has only just begun. You are about to step into a world where you will no longer have a say in anything. Your every action will be scrutinized, your every move measured. You are no longer a person, you are a possession, a beautiful object meant to adorn a man's arm and fulfill the role assigned to you. "Thank you, Martha," you manage to say, forcing a smile. "I'll be down in a moment." As she leaves, you take one last look at yourself in the mirror. The reflection that stares back at you is unfamiliar. You are not the woman you once were. You have changed, become someone else, a woman whose identity is shaped by the expectations of others. The corset around your waist feels like a metaphor for your life. It is tight, restricting, and suffocating, and no matter how you try to adjust, it will never allow you to breathe freely again. But there is something else inside you, too. Something small but undeniable. It's the spark of resistance, the flicker of rebellion that refuses to be fully extinguished. You cannot escape the life that has been laid out for you. But perhaps, just perhaps, you can still find a way to make it your own. There must be a way to reclaim your autonomy, to live for yourself, to have something more than the role assigned to you. You take a deep breath, feeling the tightness in your chest. It hurts, but you hold it in. You cannot let anyone see the cracks in your facade. Not now. Not when your future is about to be decided. Not when the performance must continue. The evening passes in a haze. You smile, you laugh, you nod, and you speak in all the right moments. You are the perfect daughter, the perfect fiancée, the perfect woman. But inside, you are screaming. The life that has been mapped out for you feels more like a prison every day. The corset digs into your ribs, your body aches from the constant performance, and your soul longs for release. Edward's proposal, his calculated words, echo in your mind like a constant reminder of the price you have paid. The walls around you have closed in tighter, and the escape you once dreamed of seems farther away than ever. The future you are about to inherit is one where you will no longer be free. You will be bound to Edward, bound to his world, his rules, his expectations, and in doing so, you will lose yourself entirely. Later that night, as you lie in bed, your body aching from the corset and the weight of your decision, you find yourself wondering, is this it? Is this the life I'm meant to live? A life of submission? Of perfection? Of silence? The question haunts you as you drift in and out of sleep. The constant pressure on your chest, a reminder of the life you have chosen, or rather, the life that has chosen you. You cannot escape this world. You cannot escape Edward. You cannot escape the role that has been assigned to you. And yet, a small voice inside you whispers, there is always a way out. There has to be. The next morning, you awake with a heavy heart. Their proposal is official now. The engagement ring gleams on your finger, a cold, glittering reminder of the life you have agreed to. You glance at it, feeling a mixture of dread and resignation. This ring is not a symbol of love. It is a symbol of ownership, of control. You are no longer your own person. You belong to Edward now. You belong to the life he has chosen for you. But despite the overwhelming weight of this reality, the small spark inside you refuses to die. There is still a part of you that refuses to accept this life. A part of you that knows you deserve more than this. You deserve freedom, independence, and the right to choose your own path. As you prepare for the wedding, the pressure mounts. Your family, your future in-laws, and society at large all expect you to be the perfect bride, the perfect wife, the perfect woman. But inside, you feel a growing sense of rebellion. You cannot go through with this. You cannot spend the rest of your life as someone else's possession. The finality of the wedding day draws nearer, and you find yourself wondering whether you will find the courage to break free. The world you live in may be suffocating, but you are still a woman with a mind, a heart, and a will of your own. The choice may be difficult, but it is yours to make. You can choose to be more than this life, more than the corset, more than the mask. But at what cost? The days blur together as the wedding draws nearer. Every day feels like a countdown, each moment dragging you closer to a life you never wanted, to a man you never chose, and to a future that has been decided for you long before you were born. You wonder, will you ever be able to escape? Or will you be trapped in this gilded cage forever? The wedding day dawns gray and foreboding, as if the very sky shares your apprehension. The first rays of sunlight barely break through the thick London fog that always seems to choke the city, as though even nature is suffocating under the weight of the expectations placed upon you. The room is cold, as always, but today it feels different, heavier. like the air itself is thick with the gravity of the decision that you are about to make. You lie in your bed, staring up at the cracked ceiling, the heaviness of your own breath filling the silence. The corset that has become a second skin presses into your ribs, forcing your body into a shape it was never meant to assume. Your waist is constricted, your lungs compressed, and the tightness in your chest isn't just from the corset anymore. It's the suffocating pressure of the life you're about to be locked into. The events of the past days swirl in your mind: your engagement to Edward, the congratulatory smiles from your family, the faint sense of dread that clung to you like a shadow no matter how hard you tried to shake it off. There was no escaping it, though. Today you would become Mrs. Edward Blackwood. The future you never asked for. The life that had been planned for you before you even understood what it meant to live for yourself was coming to fruition. The day before, your mother had practically burst into your room, demanding that you rise earlier than usual to ensure you were presentable for the wedding. The very concept of waking up early to prepare for a day in which you would essentially be sold into the ownership of another person made your stomach twist. But your mother's excitement, her eagerness for you to finally secure your future by marrying well, was like a never-ending hum of white noise that you had grown so used to. She was excited about the new family ties, the status, the social approval that would come with the marriage. But the reality of what this meant for you seemed to pass her by entirely. This was the price of being born a woman in this world. Security, safety, and status were not about your own achievements, your potential, or your desires. They were about who you married, how well you played the game, and how neatly you fit into the mold of the perfect, decorative wife. You, the daughter, were merely the means to elevate your family, to ensure your place in a world that measured a woman's worth by her ability to serve her husband and her family. In the weeks leading up to this day, you had tried to push away the gnawing dread that would settle in your stomach every time you thought about Edward. His cold eyes, his polite smile that never quite reached his gaze, and the oppressive sense of control he exuded, all of it filled you with a deep, simmering rage. How could this be your fate? How could this be what your world had led to? And yet, here you were, on the precipice of it all. The final step into a life you never chose, a life you never wanted. Your thoughts are interrupted by a quiet knock on the door, and Martha enters with her usual grace, carrying a delicate porcelain pitcher and a basin. Her eyes, normally soft and gentle, seem filled with a quiet sympathy. She doesn't ask how you are. She doesn't need to. Her presence says more than words ever could. She knows exactly how you feel. She's been a silent witness to your struggle, and in her own way, she's understood your pain, even if she can never fully empathize. She sets the basin down on the dressing table, her hands trembling slightly as she does so. The air in the room feels thicker now, the tension rising as the weight of the day grows heavier by the minute. Martha doesn't speak, but she doesn't have to. The silence between you is comfortable in its own way, like an unspoken understanding. As you sit up in bed, Martha begins the ritual of preparing you for the day ahead, dabbing your face with a damp cloth, carefully brushing through your hair, and lacing you into your corset. The tightness around your waist, the constriction in your chest, it's all a reminder that your body is no longer your own. You've become a vessel for someone else's desires, a means to an end in a world that would never let you breathe freely. You want to scream. You want to push back, to rip off the corset and refuse to wear it, to rip through the silken layers of clothing that have been designed to suffocate you. But instead, you sit there, silently allowing Martha to perform the rituals that have become so familiar. You breathe shallowly, letting the weight of it all press in on you until the physical pain of the corset fades into the background noise of your existence. And then, After all of this, after hours of preparation, hours of being molded into the perfect image of a Victorian lady, there you are, staring at yourself in the mirror. The reflection that stares back at you is one of pale beauty, perfect posture, and a tightly constricted waist. You look stunning, just as expected. But inside, you feel dead. You barely recognize the person staring back at you. She is not you. She is a lie, a mask designed to fit neatly into the world's expectations. And as you glance at your reflection, you are struck with the realization you are not free. The wedding ceremony itself is a blur of faces, voices, and well-meaning strangers. The church is grand, as all places of worship are, filled with the cold and sterile beauty that Victorian England demands. The air is heavy with the scent of incense and the murmur of prayers, but you can hardly focus on the ceremony. Your mind is spinning, the thoughts crashing through your head like a tidal wave. The priest's voice is distant, as if it is coming from another world entirely. The vows are a blur of words you know you must say, but that hold no real meaning for you. Do you, Margaret, take Edward to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do you part? The words feel empty, like a rehearsal, as though you are simply going through the motions. You glance at Edward, standing beside you in his perfectly tailored suit, his expression serene, almost detached. He does not look at you with love or longing. He looks at you with the cold indifference of someone who is merely going through the motions. Someone who has done this 1,000 times before. You say, "I do." The words fall from your lips like stones, heavy and final. As the priest pronounces you man and wife, the finality of it all hits you like a hammer. There is no turning back now. You are his. Your life, your body, your future, it all belongs to Edward now. The reception afterward is a parade of pleasantries, small talk, and polite smiles. Your new life begins in a whirlwind of congratulatory remarks, carefully calculated gestures, and the crushing weight of the expectations that come with being a wife in Victorian society. Your family beams with pride. Your mother's eyes filled with tears of joy, her dream finally realized. But inside, you feel hollow, as though you are a mere shell of the woman you used to be. Later, when you retire to your room, the door closes behind you with a finality that makes your heart race. Edward stands there, his gaze cool, appraising. You can feel the weight of his eyes on you, like a predator sizing up its prey. For the first time, you realize just how much power he holds over you now. You are no longer a woman with the ability to choose for herself. You are his property. As he approaches, you feel the sharp, biting sting of panic rise in your chest. He takes your hand, his touch cold and impersonal. You can feel his eyes on you, his expectation hanging heavy in the air. But all you can think about is the life that stretches before you, a life where you are nothing more than a decorative ornament, a possession. "Margaret," he says quietly, his voice like silk, "tonight we begin our life together. This is the life you were meant for. This is the life you were always meant to have." His words cut through you like a knife. You want to scream, to refuse, but you can't. You are trapped in this life now, and there is no way out. As he moves closer, you feel a chill run down your spine. You know what is expected of you. You know what your role is now. And for the first time, you wonder, is this really the life you were meant for? Or have you simply been made to believe that this is all you are worth? It's been a year since the wedding. A full year of forced smiles, stiff conversations, and suffocating routines. The grand estate, now fully yours in name but not in spirit, feels more like a mausoleum than a home. The rooms are immaculately decorated, the floors always gleaming, and the servants always on time. Always efficient move like clockwork. The food is always abundant, the clothes always perfectly tailored. But the silence between you and Edward, the emotional distance that has only grown over time, fills the house with an emptiness that no amount of material wealth can ever fill. You've become a ghost in your own life. There is nothing left of the woman you once were, no trace of the hope or dreams that had lived in your chest before the wedding. Those dreams have been buried beneath layers of politeness, expectations, and obligations. Your body, once your own, now feels like it belongs to everyone but you. The corsets, the dresses, the smiles, all are part of the performance, part of the role you have been assigned. Edward's presence in your life has become predictable. His coldness, his distance, it has all become a part of your daily existence. When he speaks, his words are always clipped, measured. He no longer demands anything from you, at least not in the way he did in the early days. But that, in itself, is the worst part. His indifference, his lack of care, it is the most suffocating thing of all. Every evening, he returns home, his mind already far away from you, as though you are merely an extension of his house, not a partner, not a wife. He spends his nights in his study, reading papers, discussing business with his colleagues, never once giving you more than a passing glance. You, in turn, retreat into your own solitude. You pretend to occupy yourself with needlework or reading, but there is no joy in it. There is nothing left for you but the repetitive motions of survival. And then, one evening, as you sit by the fire, feeling the weight of your own thoughts pressing against your chest, a small sound interrupts the silence. It's the softest of knocks on the door, almost too quiet to hear, but you catch it, and it's enough to stir something in you. You rise from your chair and walk to the door. When you open it, Martha stands there, her face drawn, her eyes heavy with a look you've never seen before. She isn't the same woman who had been your maid for all these years, the one who had always maintained a silent understanding of your life, of your suffering. This Martha is different. This Martha looks like someone who has seen too much, someone who knows something you do not. "Miss," she says softly, "I think it's time you knew something." Her words, though spoken in a whisper, hit you like a bolt of lightning. Something in her voice, something in the way she looks at you, makes you realize that this isn't just another passing moment of concern. Something is happening, something that could change everything. Your heart races, your breath quickens, and without thinking, you step aside, allowing her to enter the room. She closes the door behind her, her eyes scanning the room as if to make sure no one else is listening. There is a tension in the air, an electricity that makes you feel as though the world is on the edge of something huge. The words you've been waiting for, the words you've known were coming for so long, are finally about to be spoken. "Martha," you say, your voice trembling slightly. "What is it? What's happened?" She sighs, lowering her head, as if struggling with the weight of her own words. "Miss, there's a man who is willing to help you." You feel a lump form in your throat at her words. You think you know what she's implying, but the fear that grips you prevents you from speaking. Instead, you stand there, waiting for her to continue. He's someone who understands what it is like for women like you, women who are trapped. He's been watching you, seeing how you suffer under the weight of your marriage, and he's made it clear that he wants to offer you a way out. Your breath catches in your chest. A way out. The very words you've longed to hear. The spark of hope that had been smoldering in the back of your mind for so long suddenly bursts into a blaze. Could it be possible? Could there truly be a way out of this gilded cage? Your mind spins, the possibilities swirling like a tempest. But Martha, you begin, your voice shaking with the weight of the choice you're about to make. Who is he? What does he want from me? Why would he want to help me? Martha glances around nervously, making sure no one can overhear, before stepping closer to you. Her voice drops to a near whisper. His name is Lord Radcliffe. He's an advocate for women's rights, a man who wants to see change in this world. He believes that women should be free to choose their own lives, not be bound by the expectations of society. He sees you, miss, not as a possession to be controlled, but as a woman who deserves more than this. A cold chill runs down your spine. Lord Radcliffe. The name means nothing to you at first, but there is something in Martha's eyes, a flicker of something you can't quite place that makes your heart race. But what does he want from me? Why me? You ask again, your voice barely above a whisper. Martha hesitates, her eyes flitting to the door, then back to you. He wants nothing from you, miss. Not in the way you think. He wants you to be free. He's offering you an escape, a way out of this life, this marriage, this prison. He's offering you a chance to take control of your own destiny. The words hang in the air like a delicate thread. You grasp at them, your heart pounding in your chest. This is what you have wanted for so long, what you've dreamed about in the darkest hours of the night, a way out, freedom. But then the reality of it sinks in. Escape comes with a cost. It always does. What must I do, you ask, your voice trembling with both fear and anticipation. What do I have to give in return? Martha looks at you, her face soft with sympathy. You don't have to give anything, miss. He only asks that you trust him. He knows how difficult it will be, how dangerous it may be, but he believes in you, and he believes in your right to live your life as you see fit. You feel a dizzying mix of emotions, fear, excitement, and confusion as you process her words. Lord Radcliffe is offering you something you've never even dared to hope for. Freedom. A chance to break free from Edward, from the suffocating grip of societal expectations, from the role you've been forced to play your whole life. But there is a price, isn't there? There always is, and you are not sure what that price might be. You stare at Martha, her face filled with quiet urgency, and for a long moment, you are lost in your own thoughts. Your mind races with the possibilities, the risks, the consequences of the decision you are about to make. But one thing is certain, you cannot continue to live this way. You cannot continue to be someone else's possession, someone else's decoration. You must take a chance. Yes, you say finally, your voice firm with determination. Yes, I will do it. Martha's eyes widen, a flicker of relief passing through them. She nods quickly, almost as if she expected this answer. I will arrange everything, miss. Meet him tomorrow at the usual time. I will make sure no one sees. And just like that, your life begins to change. The days that follow feel like a blur, each one stretching endlessly before you. It's as though the very passage of time has slowed, giving you room to think, room to breathe, but the suffocating weight of your choices hangs over you like a dark cloud, a storm that threatens to break at any moment. Every word Edward speaks, every gesture, seems more distant, more disconnected from the life you thought you would lead. He no longer holds any sway over you, but it's not freedom you feel. It's a kind of restless anticipation, the quiet hum of the escape you have set into motion. Tomorrow, everything changes. Martha has been careful. Her eyes, usually full of warmth, are now clouded with a quiet urgency that makes your stomach knot. She has arranged everything meticulously, discreetly, and there's no turning back now. She's told you when and where to meet Lord Radcliffe, but not much else. For someone who has always been in the background, supporting your quiet suffering, it's strange to see her now, standing on the precipice of your decision, her eyes shining with something new: hope, maybe, or fear. Perhaps both. You don't ask her too many questions. There's no time for questions, not now. The truth is that you don't know what awaits you. And yet, in some strange way, you're almost grateful for the uncertainty. It means you're taking control again. It means that, for the first time in years, you can decide your own fate. But you are still terrified. The thought of what lies ahead gnaws at you, keeps you awake long into the night. You lie in bed, your body aching from the tight corset that you've been forced to wear for so long. And you can't help but wonder what life might look like outside the walls of this house. Can there be a life for you beyond the suffocating rules of Victorian society? A life where you can breathe freely, where you can choose your own path? It's hard to imagine. The chains of your past, your upbringing, your marriage, your family's expectations are so ingrained in you, so tightly wound around your existence, that the idea of freedom feels almost foreign. But it is a kind of hope you haven't allowed yourself in years. You turn over restlessly, staring at the dark ceiling above you, the shadows twisting like the doubts that linger in your mind. The meeting tomorrow feels like a betrayal of Edward, of your family, of everything you've ever known. And yet, deep down, you know you cannot keep living this way. The slow death of your soul, the erosion of your identity, is more painful than anything you might face in your flight toward freedom. As the night stretches on, you finally close your eyes, a sense of resignation settling over you. Tomorrow, you will see Lord Radcliffe. Tomorrow, you will make your choice. The next morning arrives quietly, almost unnaturally so. The house is still, the usual bustle of servants going about their duties muted by the oppressive silence that fills the air. It's the kind of morning that makes you feel like you are walking through someone else's dream. The sun is hidden behind a heavy layer of mist, and the gray light seems to dull everything it touches. Even the birds outside seem to whisper, as if afraid to disturb the fragile peace of your decision. You rise earlier than usual, slipping out of the bed that once felt like home but now seems like a prison. The house is still asleep, and you move through the halls like a shadow, careful not to make a sound. The servants are already preparing breakfast, but you don't care about breakfast today. Today is about something much bigger. As you enter your dressing room, you look at the clothes laid out for you. The same dresses you've worn every day for the past year, beautiful, pristine, but suffocating. The corset, the layers of fabric, the shoes that pinch your toes, everything about them serves to bind you, to shape you into the perfect image of what society expects from you. But not today. Today, you refuse to be shaped. You refuse to conform. You choose something simple, a plain traveling dress, dark in color, with a loose-fitting waist that allows you to breathe. You pull it over your head, the fabric comforting in its freedom. You're not sure what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, you feel like yourself again. Martha knocks at the door just as you finish dressing. She enters, her expression tight with anxiety. She doesn't say anything, just moves to help you with the final touches. The hush between you is thick with anticipation. There are no words that can capture the enormity of the moment. Instead, you simply nod to her, and she nods back, understanding the silent agreement between you. It's time. The carriage ride is short but filled with a heavy, unspoken tension. The streets of London are still shrouded in fog, the world around you a blur of gray and brown, as though the city itself is holding its breath. You sit quietly, your hands folded in your lap, your heart pounding in your chest. The weight of your decision is almost unbearable, and yet you know that there is no going back now. You arrive at the designated location, an elegant townhouse nestled in a quiet part of the city. It stands in stark contrast to the oppressive grandness of your own home. This place feels different, freer somehow. As you step out of the carriage, you pause for a moment, taking in the small garden that leads to the door. There are no grand gates here, no watchful eyes. It is a place that feels like it belongs to someone who values peace, autonomy, and, above all, freedom. Martha looks at you with a final, almost mournful glance before she steps back into the carriage, leaving you alone on the doorstep. You take a deep breath, steadying yourself. This is it, the moment that will change everything. You knock on the door. The man who answers is not what you expected. Lord Radcliffe, standing before you in his impeccably tailored suit, is a figure of quiet power. He's taller than you imagined, with sharp features and a presence that demands attention without being overbearing. His eyes, dark and piercing, seem to see right through you, and for a moment you feel exposed in a way you haven't felt in years. But then he smiles a small, almost imperceptible smile, and the tension that had been building inside you melts, if only for a moment. "Miss Harrison," he says, his voice smooth and calm. "I'm glad you could make it." You nod, your throat tight. "Thank you for seeing me, Lord Radcliffe." He gestures for you to enter, and as you step inside, you are immediately struck by the contrast between this house and your own. It is simple, yet elegant, with warm, inviting colors and comfortable furnishings. There are no grand displays of wealth here, no overwhelming sense of formality. Instead, it feels like a place where people can actually live, actually breathe. "Please," Lord Radcliffe says, offering you a seat. "Make yourself comfortable." You sit, but the weight of your decision hangs over you like a storm cloud. There is no going back now. This is the moment when everything changes. You look at Lord Radcliffe, your heart racing. You're not sure what to say, but you know that you cannot remain silent any longer. "I don't know what this means," you say quietly, "but I know I cannot continue to live the way I have." He nods slowly, his gaze never leaving you. "I understand. I know what it's like to feel trapped, to be bound by the expectations of society. But you have a choice now, Margaret. This is your chance to take control of your life. For the first time in a long time, you allow yourself to hope. The warmth of the townhouse wraps around you like a comfort you never knew you needed." Lord Radcliffe, having noticed your initial discomfort, now stands at a respectful distance, giving you the space to breathe. His words, carefully chosen and measured, hover between the two of you. There is a sharpness to him, an intelligence that is both intimidating and oddly reassuring. He doesn't rush you. He doesn't try to force a decision or a declaration. Instead, he allows you to settle into this new space, this new possibility, on your term. You sit quietly, feeling a strange mix of excitement and fear. Your heartbeat, once erratic and wild, is slowly beginning to calm. This is the moment you've waited for. This is the first step into the unknown. Lord Radcliffe finally speaks again, his voice low and reassuring. "I know this is a lot to take in. You may not even fully understand what you're walking into yet, but I can promise you one thing: this is a decision you will never regret." His words cut through the fog of doubt that lingers in your mind. You want to believe him. You want to trust him. But there's a part of you, a small, quiet part, that still trembles at the thought of what you are about to leave behind. The life you knew, even if it was confining, was still something you understood. The estate, the social obligations, the rules, no matter how restrictive, They provided a sense of order, a structure that your mind clung to like a lifeline. Now, that structure is slipping away, and with it, everything you once thought you knew about who you were. Why are you doing this for me? You ask. The question slipping from your lips before you can stop it. Why would you want to help someone like me? Lord Radcliffe meets your gaze, his expression softening. Because I see the same fire in you that I once saw in myself. You've been suffocated by the same system that has kept women like us in chains for centuries, but there's a way out, a way to break free, and I want to help you take that step. His words are compelling, but they stir something deep inside you, something unsettling. How much of this is his genuine desire to help, and how much is his own sense of control, of power? You don't know him, not really. He is a stranger, albeit one who speaks with a conviction that makes your heart race. You feel torn between the possibility of a life outside the cage of your marriage and the fear that you may be walking into a new set of chains. Will I ever be free of it? You whisper, barely able to speak the words aloud. Will I ever truly be free? Lord Radcliffe doesn't respond immediately. Instead, he studies you, as if weighing your question carefully. The silence stretches between you, and you wonder if you've asked the wrong thing. But then, he nods, his voice steady and confident. Freedom is not a place, Margaret. It's a choice, and it's a journey. You're already on the path. All you have to do is keep walking. It sounds so simple, so clear, but something in the weight of his words unsettles you. What does freedom really look like? What will it mean for you to live without the structure that has defined your entire life? What happens to a woman when she steps out of the cage and into the wild unknown? You take a deep breath, trying to push the uncertainty aside. There is no turning back now. The choices you make from this point forward will define you, just as much as the choices that led you here. Tell me what comes next, you say, your voice trembling slightly as you face him. Lord Radcliffe rises from his seat, walking over to a nearby table. He picks up a stack of papers and holds them out to you. These are the documents that will start the process, the first step toward your independence. Once we finalize everything, you'll no longer be bound by your marriage. You will be free to live your life as you see fit. You hesitate for a moment, your fingers brushing against the smooth, crisp paper. You've never held anything like this before, the promise of freedom wrapped in bureaucracy. It's not what you imagined, not the dramatic escape from the life you once knew. It feels more like a quiet revolution, one that is almost too simple to be real. You take the papers from him, your hands shaking slightly. And what happens after this? You ask, still unsure of what you're stepping into. What does my life look like then? Lord Radcliffe looks at you with something that might be sympathy, though his face remains carefully neutral. What happens next is entirely up to you. Once you're free, you can do whatever you choose. You can stay here in London, you can move away, you can even choose to live anonymously, if that's what you want. The world will be your oyster. No one will be able to dictate who you are, what you do, or where you go. The choice will be yours. The words sound too good to be true. No one has ever offered you such an open future, such a vast, uncharted path. You try to imagine what that might look like, but your mind stumbles over the enormity of it. To be free, to choose your own life. It's almost too overwhelming to comprehend. A deep part of you, the part that has been suppressed for so long, wants to take the papers, sign them, and walk away from everything. But there is also a part of you that clings to the familiar, the known. Edward, despite everything, is still a part of your life. The estate, the comfort, the social standing it all, still holds sway over your thoughts. the life you could have, the one that stretches out before you like an endless horizon, feels both terrifying and exhilarating. Lord Radcliffe watches you carefully, his expression unreadable. He is waiting for you to make your decision, to take the step that will change everything. But it's not as easy as he makes it sound. The life you've known for so long has shaped you, defined you in ways you're only beginning to understand. I don't know if I can do this, you whisper, the weight of it finally crashing down on you. I don't know if I can leave it all behind. Lord Radcliffe doesn't press you. He simply sits down across from you, his eyes never leaving your face. The silence between you is not uncomfortable. It's full of understanding, of knowing that this is a decision you have to make for yourself. He isn't pushing you toward anything. He is simply offering you the chance. I'm not asking you to leave everything behind, Margaret, he says softly. I'm asking you to choose for yourself, to take back the agency that has been denied to you your entire life. And Ev, the simplicity of his words cuts through the fog in your mind. You're not being asked to make a grand gesture, to sacrifice everything for the sake of freedom. You're being asked to take control of your own choices, to decide what your future will look like. The world outside this room, outside the walls of the house you once called home, is waiting for you. It's filled with possibility, but it's also filled with uncertainty. It's up to you to decide which path to take. You feel the weight of the decision settle deep within you. The papers lie before you, representing everything you've ever wanted and everything you've ever feared. The life you've known is slipping away, and in its place, something new is taking shape. You have the power to choose. You have the power to make your own life. For the first time in years, you breathe deeply, letting the air fill your lungs. This is the moment. This is the choice. Without a word, you pick up the papers and begin to read. Each word feels like a weight being lifted from your shoulders. Each sentence a promise of the future you never thought you could have. And as you finish reading, you finally know what you have to do. The papers are in your hands, the weight of their promise heavy against your palm. Lord Radcliffe stands silently across from you, his gaze steady, as though he's watching not just your actions, but the very unfolding of your future. The room feels suddenly smaller, as if the walls are pressing in, watching you make a decision that will irrevocably alter everything. You stare down at the documents, at the unfamiliar words and legalese that are meant to break the chains binding you to a life you never chose. But beneath the surface of that formality, you can feel the pulse of your own desire for something more, something different. You've spent years in a gilded cage, beautiful and immobile. Now, you are holding the key to the door, but the lock is heavier than you expected. With a steadying breath, you look up at Lord Radcliffe. His expression is patient, but there's a quiet understanding in his eyes, as if he's already seen this moment 1,000 times before. This is the moment where everything changes, where you choose not just your future, but who you are, who you will become. How long will it take, you ask? Your voice steady despite the tremor of doubt that still clings to you. How long until I'm free? Lord Radcliffe exhales, his lips curving slightly. Freedom isn't something that happens overnight, Margaret. It's not a simple matter of signing a piece of paper. It's a process, one that will take time and patience. But once the papers are filed, once the legalities are sorted, you will be free. You will own your life. And the weight of his words sinks into your bones. It's a strange kind of comfort, knowing that it's not just about the immediate escape, but about the long-term process. The legalities, the paperwork, those are the outward trappings of freedom. But the real journey will be the one inside of you. It will be the reclamation of your identity, the rebuilding of your very self. You nod slowly, taking in his words. And if I leave today, what happens next? How do I live? He takes a step closer, lowering his voice as if to make the moment more personal, more real. The world is yours to shape. You could leave London. You could stay here, but away from the prying eyes of your marriage. You can choose any life you want, Margaret. No one will tell you how to live it. You'll finally be the author of your own story. You look down at the papers once more. The words blur slightly as your thoughts race. Your life as Mrs. Blackwood, as Edward's wife, has been a series of carefully curated performances. Each smile, each gesture, each word measured, controlled. But beneath that performance, the real you has been hiding, buried under expectations, under rules. You feel the stirrings of that woman, the one who had once dreamed, once fought for freedom, begin to wake. I have to leave, you say quietly, more to yourself than to him. I can't stay in this house. I can't stay in this marriage any longer. The finality of your words surprises you, but there is a clarity that comes with them. You've been waiting for permission, for someone else to tell you it's okay to go. But now you know that no one can give you that permission but yourself. No one can free you except you. Lord Radcliffe's gaze softens, and he offers a single nod, acknowledging the strength it took for you to come to this decision. I'll make the arrangements, he says. You don't have to worry about the details. All you need to do is step forward. The rest will follow. For the first time in years, you feel the weight of your choices lift slightly from your shoulders. You are no longer bound by duty, by expectation. You are not simply a piece in someone else's game. You are Margaret, and you are choosing for yourself. You leave Lord Radcliffe's townhouse with the papers secured in your hands, a quiet but resolute determination in your chest. The air outside feels different, as though the city itself has shifted, the fog parting just enough to let a sliver of light through. You breathe in deeply, the fresh air filling your lungs as if to cleanse you of everything that has come before. The carriage ride back to your estate is a blur. You barely register the passing streets, the familiar landmarks. Your mind is elsewhere, thinking of the life that awaits you beyond these walls, beyond Edward's control, beyond the rigid structures that have defined your existence. You are about to enter a new world, one where you make the rules, where you have the power to decide your future. As the carriage pulls up to the grand gates of your estate, you feel a knot tighten in your stomach. It's strange how something that once felt like home now feels like an alien world. The mansion that you once considered your domain now seems more like a tomb, a mausoleum for a woman who no longer exists. You are no longer her. You are someone else now. Martha is waiting for you at the door, her eyes flicking nervously toward the gate, as though expecting someone to arrive at any moment. But it is just you, just Margaret, standing here on the threshold of your old life. Everything is in place, miss, Martha says quietly, her voice laced with concern. Are you sure about this? You nod, the weight of your decision pressing down on you. Yes, I have to leave. I can't stay another minute. Her eyes soften, and for the first time, you see something more than just a servant in her. There's an understanding there, an unspoken solidarity. I'll help you, she whispers. Whatever you need. You smile at her, grateful for her loyalty. Thank you, Martha. It takes only moments to pack a small bag, just the essentials. You don't need much, not anymore. The life you once had is no longer yours to hold on to. You glance around your bedroom one last time, taking in the lavish furniture, the silk curtains, the delicate paintings on the walls. None of it matters. None of it can hold you here anymore. You turn and leave the room, the door clicking softly behind you. As you step into the hallway, you feel a strange sense of finality. The house is eerily quiet, the air thick with the weight of years spent in silence, in expectation. You're walking away from it, from the version of yourself who once lived here, and it feels like a liberation, a release from the heavy chains that have bound you for so long. Martha, you call softly as you approach the staircase. Is everything ready? Yes, miss. I've taken care of the servants. They're under orders not to say anything. You can leave without being noticed. You nod, then pause at the door to the main hall. The hallway stretches ahead of you, dark and silent. The mansion looms around you, its walls holding the memories of years spent living under the shadow of expectations. But now, it's just a place, a house, and you are leaving it behind. You step out the door into the cool night air. The carriage waits at the end of the driveway, its dark silhouette cutting through the mist. As you walk toward it, you glance over your shoulder one last time. The mansion stands silent and still, as though it too is holding its breath. The moment you enter the carriage and the door shuts behind you, you exhale, as though letting go of a breath you've been holding for years. The weight of the past begins to melt away, and with each mile that the carriage carries you away from your former life, you feel the chains loosen a little more. You're free, you whisper to yourself, and for the first time, you believe it. As the carriage rolls through the misty streets of London, each bump and sway seems to push you further away from the life you once knew, the life you once felt bound to. The mansion grows smaller in the distance, swallowed by the fog, until it is nothing more than a vague silhouette against the darkening sky. For the first time in what feels like an eternity, you breathe freely, the weight of the past lifting from your chest with each passing mile. You don't know where you're going, not exactly, but it doesn't matter. The very idea of making your own choices, of being in control of your own fate, sends a shiver of excitement through your veins. The unknown has never felt so enticing, so full of promise. You are a woman on the cusp of reinvention, and nothing can take that away from you. The journey ahead is uncertain, but it is also full of infinite possibilities. You are no longer bound by the constraints of marriage, by the roles that society has assigned to you. You are Margaret, and you are free. You can create the life you want. No longer will you be confined to the role of a dutiful wife, a woman who exists only in the shadow of others. You have stepped into the light, and it is yours to shape. The city outside the carriage window blurs as you pass through the winding streets of London. The fog, now heavier, gives the world an almost dreamlike quality. It feels like the entire world is holding its breath, as if the city itself is waiting for you to make your move. Your thoughts return to Lord Radcliffe. He is, in many ways, the catalyst for this new chapter in your life. Without him, without his quiet support and belief in your ability to change, you might never have found the courage to break free. His kindness has been a beacon, a reminder that there are still men in this world who see women as equals, who value them for their intellect, their strength, and their potential. The memory of him lingers with you, though you know you are moving toward something far beyond what he represents. He opened the door, but it is you who must walk through it. You must define your path from here on out, and you know that the first step in that journey is to embrace the freedom you've fought so hard to attain. As the carriage moves deeper into the city, you are struck by the realization that your life, for the first time in a long while, is entirely your own. The mansion, the marriage, the expectations, they are no longer yours to bear. The chains that once bound you to that world are gone. You can almost feel the weight lifting from your shoulders. You look out the window, watching the city come alive in its own quiet way, and you think about what comes next. Where will you go? What will you do? You can no longer imagine a life without purpose, without meaning. There is too much to be done, too much potential inside you that has never been given the space to grow. The first steps will be the hardest, you know that. The world will not suddenly open its doors to you just because you've decided to walk through them. There will be obstacles, and there will be moments when you will doubt your own strength. But you will push through. You have to. There is no other choice now. Hours pass, and the journey continues, but eventually the carriage slows to a stop. You look up, the cold air seeping through the open window, and you realize that you have arrived at your destination. It's not a grand estate or a lavish house, not the kind of place you've grown accustomed to. Instead, it's a modest building, nestled in a quiet corner of the city. The street is quieter here, the houses smaller, the lights dimmer. This is where your new life begins. The carriage door opens, and the footman helps you down onto the cobblestone street. You stand there for a moment, taking in the quiet. The world feels different here, more intimate, more real. There is no grand display of wealth, no overpowering sense of importance. This is a place where people live their lives quietly, without the pressure of public expectation. You take a deep breath, your heart racing as you step inside the building. It is a simple but comfortable space. The warmth of the hearth greets you, and the smell of freshly brewed tea fills the air. The woman who greets you at the door is middle-aged, with a kind smile and an air of calm familiarity. "Margaret," she says, her voice soft and welcoming. "It's so good to finally meet you. Lord Radcliffe spoke highly of you." You smile back, though your nerves are still tingling with uncertainty. "Thank you," you reply, stepping inside. "It's good to be here." The woman, whose name you learn is Mrs. Ellis, leads you to a small sitting room where a fire crackles in the hearth. She offers you tea, and you accept gratefully, the warmth of the cup easing some of the tension still clinging to your body. You sit down in the cozy armchair, taking in your new surroundings. This is your first taste of a life outside of the chains that have held you. It is not grand, but it is peaceful. It is real. Over the next few weeks, your life begins to take shape in ways you never imagined. Mrs. Ellis is a former governess, now running a small boarding house for women who have escaped abusive or oppressive situations. She offers you a place to stay, a sanctuary, as you figure out what comes next. Her kindness is a balm to your soul, soothing the raw edges of your transformation. You find yourself helping around the house, doing what you can to make the space feel more like home. But more than that, you spend hours reading, learning, and rediscovering parts of yourself that you had forgotten existed. The woman who used to read novels late into the night, the one who dreamed of something bigger, is slowly emerging from the shadows of your past. It's a quiet kind of freedom, but it is freedom nonetheless. One afternoon, as you sit by the fire reading a book on social reform and the early suffrage movement, a thought strikes you with the force of a revelation. You were never meant to be a passive observer of your life. You were never meant to simply exist, to fill a role created for you by others. You were meant to change the world, to make a difference, to use your voice to fight for those who have no power. You stand up, the book still in your hands, and walk to the small desk where you've started keeping a journal. The pen feels foreign in your hand at first, but as you write, the words flow easily. You write about your experiences, about what it means to be a woman in a world that seeks to silence you, about the things you've learned and the things you still need to learn. And as you write, You feel the stirrings of something bigger than yourself, and understanding that your journey, while deeply personal, is also part of something greater. You are not alone in this fight for autonomy, for self-determination. There are others like you, others who have fought for the right to choose, to be seen as equals, and you will add your voice to theirs. The next day, a letter arrives at Mrs. Ellis's house. It's from Lord Radcliffe, his handwriting elegant and precise. He congratulates you on taking the first steps toward independence and offers his support in whatever endeavors you decide to pursue. He speaks of the changes in the world, of the opportunities now available for women like you, and he ends the letter with a simple, encouraging note. Your future is yours to create. I have no doubt you will shape it into something extraordinary. And you fold the letter carefully and tuck it into your journal. Lord Radcliffe may have opened the door, but you are the one who will walk through it. Months pass, and your life continues to unfold in ways you could never have predicted. You work with Mrs. Ellis, helping her run the boarding house. You continue to read, to learn, and slowly you begin to speak out, at first in small ways, in the quiet meetings of women who meet at the house to discuss their rights, their futures. Your voice is still trembling, still finding its strength. But with every word you speak, with every action you take, you reclaim more of yourself. And you know, deep down, that this is just the beginning. The world is changing, and you are a part of that change. In the years that follow, you will continue to shape your life. You will fight for the rights of women, for the freedom to live, to love, to choose. And through it all, you will remember the moment when you walked away from the life that was never truly yours and chose the one that was. Freedom is not a destination. It is a journey, one you will walk for the rest of your life. And with each step you take, you will find that it's not just the world that is changing, it is you. The past is behind you. The future is yours. And the dawn of a new beginning has just begun.